I will never die. These were the chilling final words, echoing through the cold walls of Kayang prison in November 2001. They belonged to a woman standing before the hangman's noose, unfazed, smiling as if she were about to step onto a concert stage. Welcome to Dark Meridian. Today, we delve into the horrifying true story of Mona Fandey, Malaysian pop singer who traded her microphone for black magic, orchestrating a gruesome murder that shocked an entire nation. Born on January 1st, 1956, Nurmasna binti Isma discovered her passion for singing and dancing at a very early age. Under the stage name Mona Fandey, she released her debut album, Diana, in 1987. Despite the financial backing and support of her husband, Muhammad Mona Fandey Abdul Rahman, who even secured her several television appearances, her music career ultimately failed to launch. Following the collapse of her singing career, Mona Fandey pivoted to the dark arts, reinventing themselves as practitioners of witchcraft. This sinister turn attracted a high-profile clientele, including prominent politicians from the UMNO party. In Malaysia, shamans claiming to be conduits for supernatural spirits have long been sought after by the rich and powerful. Desperate politicians would often turn to these dark rituals to gain a supernatural edge over their rivals during election seasons. By catering to the wealthy elite, Mona bankrolled a wildly extravagant lifestyle. She lived in 5-star hotels, drove a fleet of luxury cars, including Jaguars, Mercedes-Benzes, and BMW, and acquired multiple lavish mansions across the country. In 1993, the couple was approached by an ambitious politician with his sights set on becoming the chief minister of Pahang. The pair agreed to help, promising Maslan a powerful talismanic cane and a cap reportedly belonging to Indonesia's first president for the staggering price of 2.5 million ringgit. In exchange, Maslan agreed to pay 500,000 ringgit upfront and handed over 10 land titles as collateral for the remaining balance. Maslan was reported missing on July 2, 1993. Before vanishing, he had withdrawn nearly 300,000 ringgit from multiple banks across Kuala Lumpur to meet Mona in Robe. Almost immediately after his disappearance, Mona embarked on a massive shopping spree in the capital. She purchased a brand new Mercedes-Benz, a mobile phone, heavy gold jewelry, and luxury home furnishings, paying for everything in cold, hard cash. Then, on July 15, 1993, Mona checked into Tangshin Hospital to undergo extensive plastic surgery on her face, forehead, and nose. On July 13, 1993, Mona's assistant, Juraimi Hassan, was arrested on a drug charge. While under interrogation at the Dong police station, he dropped a bombshell, finally revealing the horrifying truth behind Maslan's sudden disappearance. The grim truth finally surfaced. In early July 1993, instead of a mystical ritual, Maslan met a gruesome end. Mona Fandey instructed the unsuspecting politician to lie down, only to ruthlessly take his life with a blade. Then, aided by her husband and assistant, the dark shaman dismembered his body and buried the remains beneath an unfinished house, or a property owned by Maslan himself, located in Kampung Latat, Jeram, Pahang, Malaysia. On July 22, 1993, the Royal Malaysian Police unearthed a horror that would scar the nation's history. Buried 6 feet deep beneath the soil of Maslan's own land in Pahang, they discovered what remained of the politician, a dismembered, partially skinned body sealed within a concrete-covered pit. The remains had been hacked into 18 gruesome pieces and hidden within the storeroom of an unfinished building. At the scene, investigators recovered chilling evidence of the ritual and altar, deity statues, and the very axes and knives used to commit the atrocity. On August 2, 1993, the law finally caught up with the trio. Mona Fandey, her husband Muhammad Mona Fandey, Abdul Ram, and their assistant Jeremy Hassan were officially charged with the brutal murder of Mazlan Idris and immediately remanded in custody. In the wake of Mazlan's murder, investigators uncovered a much darker trail of unsolved disappearances. Police began to suspect Mona's involvement in the vanishing of 5 maids who had worked for her during the late 1980s. The horror only deepened in early August 1993, when the dismembered and mutilated remains of a family of Tritam Kim and his wife and their 5-month-old son were unearthed across 2 separate locations in the Kumaman district. The victims were identified as former followers of Mona who had mysteriously vanished years prior. At the crime scene near Kijil, reporters watched as Mona's husband, Mona Fandey, was escorted away in a police cruiser. It was soon revealed that he owned the very land where the bodies lay hidden. While authorities suspected a gruesome ritualistic human sacrifice, a chilling alternative motive emerged. Tan's sister claimed that the wife had once frantically visited her without the baby begging for a large loan. This detail, combined with the separation of the infant's remains from its parents, suggested a kidnapping for ransom that ended in the slaughter of the entire family to ensure their silence. The web of atrocities didn't stop there. Police also connected Mona to the brutal murder of Irma Ji, who went missing from Klang in early 1992 before her dismembered body parts were found scattered across Pen. In a sickening twist, in August 1993, authorities unearthed 4 glass jars filled with human organs from the garden of the same property where Mazlan was buried. Organs, believed to be Jilon's. Found alongside these jars in the same plastic bags were ominous deity figures, including a statue of the 10-armed Hindu goddess Durga. On September 12, 1994, the highly anticipated trial finally began. During a gripping 1-hour closing statement, Deputy Public Prosecutor Zakaria Sam laid out a motive of pure greed. He highlighted the killer's lavish shopping spree, including a 125,000 ringgit Mercedes-Benz bought entirely in cash goods a day after the politician vanished. The prosecution revealed a damning piece of evidence. Mazlan had withdrawn his money in 1,000 ringgit notes, the exact same denomination Mona and her husband used to fund their extravagant lifestyle. The prosecutor declared the murder a cold, premeditated trap. Mazlan was lured to an isolated hut under the guise of a dark magic ritual to secure his political future. But the moment he closed his eyes and let his guard down, trapped in his most vulnerable state, he was ruthlessly slaughtered. Throughout the highly publicized trial, Mona's behavior was nothing short of bizarre. Instead of showing a shred of remorse, she was unnervingly cheerful, constantly flashing wide smiles and striking poses for the sea of press photographers. Every day, she arrived dressed to the nines in bright, flamboyant outfits, even exclaiming at one point, "It looks like I have a lot of fans." Observers couldn't help but note the chilling reality. Mona was finally basking in the spotlight she had desperately craved her entire life. As prison guards escorted her into the courthouse, her demeanor wasn't that of a cold-blooded murderer facing the gallows, but rather a superstar arriving at a red carpet movie premiere. On February 9, 1995, the hammer finally fell. Mona Fandey, her husband Mohammed Noor Afandi, Abdul, and their assistant Jeremy Hassan were found guilty and sentenced to hang for the murder of Mazlan Idris. In a final display of chilling arrogance, Mona addressed the reporters moments after receiving her death sentence. "I am happy with this decision, and I thank the people of Malaysia," she declared, before blowing kisses to To the stunned crowd of onlookers, the three condemned killers were then transported to death row at Kajang prison in Selangor, waiting to face the gallows. In the dark, early hours of November 2nd, 2001, Mona Fandey and Juraimi met their end at the end of a rope in Kayang prison. According to a prison official, the trio showed absolutely no remorse as they faced their pre-dawn execution. Legend has it that in her final moments, as the noose was tightened, Mona uttered the chilling words, "Aku takkan mati," meaning I will never die, maintaining her eerie, calm smile until the very end.